to add more water. This is light. And inside the pink, I see the feeling of yellow. So one yellowy color, I bring it here. It's more look like peachy tone. When you mix yellow with pink. So it's enough, it's runny. I don't need to add more water. I don't want to let my water move around. So I can start to adding the flower on my paper. Just let me turn off the curtain. I think the light is a lot. Okay, now it's more visible. So start to adding the drawing here on the center. I choose here and imagine this flower should be a little bit round shape. So easy. I try to use the tip of brush and shape the petals. Lay down, hold the brush on a paper and try to shape my petals. If something happens like that, when things come inside your painting with napkin, just try to help it come out. Oops, what's this? Okay. And then again, back to the painting. This is the wet brush on top of the dry paper. So this technique is wet and dry. When the flower is wet, you can bring a little yellow more if you want, because I need more yellow feeling. So bring more yellow, lay down your brush, try to move it on the flower everywhere that you feel need the yellow. Then leave it like that to get completely dry. Try to dilute whole the hair of brush into that. And then we can use tip of brush for details throughout the line. We can use whole the hair of brush like that. I put the tip of brush now on a paper like here. Bring it down. This is pointy here on top. And then I would like to lay down whole my brush and shape it to make some petals. And have some empty space in between. So it's just like a playing with the paint, and you can move your brush on the way that you're interested more. For watercolor, when you have enough water in your brush, so it's really easy to move it, handle the brush and paint. For first layer, always first layer is more watery. Second layer, after it gets dry, when we move on, we don't need to use this amount of water. We need to use very less water. Drop of water into the red paint. Bring it here. Dilute it, hold the hair. The first layer is better to be light. Because of that, I add more water to make sure that it's so runny and loose. And then this is a little darker because it's red. I use the tip, start here. Try to shape the petals like that. And then try to shape this petal beside that. Keep the empty space in between. The other petal here. Actually, most of the time for watercolor, even on flowers, I prefer not to do drawing with pencil because pencil is black and dark and flowers should be really fresh and light. Because of that, I'm not a fan of drawing sometimes. But if you're comfortable more, you can just draw a really light line around and then add the watercolor on top if it's more easy and helpful. So shape each petals and then let it dry for next layer. Inside this flower is a little white. I will show you we can keep the paper white. There is one technique that can have a white color. The other technique is on top, add some gouache or acrylic paint. So I will show you both. Here I want to keep the paper white. So again, back to the red. I would like to make my red a little bit warmer. So I'm going to add this rosy color, or maybe this one. This is alizarin crimson. This is rosy color too. Add these two color, make my red a little bit more strong. Just a bit water. Diluted, hold the brush. So start here, this part. Again, with the tip of brush, start adding the shape. Keep empty space in between, move on with the other shape for petals. I would like to leave the center be completely white as a paper. So I am not going inside. So I'm going to diluted hair of the brush with the orange color. And then here is dry. I can come close to that. Half of the orange flower is under this one, so it's not visible. Just a half of it is visible here. I'm going to draw the shape of petals. And imagine half of it is under the pink flower. Even I want to keep this space as a white of the paper. You can use tip of brush to add details around. You can use hold the hair of brush to laying down on a paper and move the paint with this, hold the brush, keep it like that. In some case, just a pure color of red on top of wet surface give us a little darkness. Diluted my brush with the orange color first. I'm going to add the curvy line from the other side. So I keep here this circular shape or oval shape is the place of my flower. I start here. Hold the hair of brush, a little come up, shape it like that, bring it down. Lay down, hold the brush on a paper, bring it down like that. Keep this space a little white. And then I'm going to move on, add a little red into orange. I would like to have darker tone. So continue with this to shape in front. And try not to move to the center and add the paint into the center. I would like to keep it white. Now we can control by the tip of brush and help our paint move on exactly on the same way that we interested to move. So lay down from the other side, lay down, hold the brush into the paper, Try to play, move it like that. And because of the water that is inside the brush, inside the paint, it's not really dark. I'm not keeping lots of white in between, just a little bit would be enough. Then move on here. But for this section, I think I would like to lift up a little bit paint and add some more green. So I clean my brush very well. There is still watery here. It's not dry, so I try to lift up some paint like that. It's a little bit challenging sometimes with any light green you have, or even any green you have. A little bit. Just bring it as a narrow line. Just a feeling I would like to bring, feeling of green. It shouldn't be really dark. Even if you feel it's dark, always napkin is helpful beside yourself to reduce the amount of water by touching the napkin. And then add some green color into the purple. Color really dark, like a black, like with ultramarine blue. This is the dark, really dark blue color. When you mix with dark brown, like burnt umber or Van Dyke, you already make really dark color. That's so close to black. This one, you see, it's so close. But we would like to make the details on top, so we don't need to add water. It's really dry, you can see. It's not watery like that. So I try to add a tiny bit water. That tiny bit water helps the brush move, but shouldn't be watery. I diluted tip of brush with this. Anytime you feel that it's a lots of water into the brush, napkin, it's helpful. Just touch it and help to reduce the amount of water. Second layer should be work on dry surface, like that. So I'm going to start adding a darkness to the center of this flower, like that. There is a little bit white color around and the yellow will come later. I'm going to add all the blacky color on center and then come with the other colors. So I see one darkness here too. It's dry. And then I use tip of brush to draw some narrow line around it. Randomly, I add this narrow line and then I'm going to add some tiny circle on top. Randomly, I can bring some tiny circly color, dark color around it, which is nice for the flowers. So you can see close. This is so narrow and liney. Same for this one. On the center, I try to add a little darkness like this. And then draw some randomly line. I try my best not to be really thick, but you see, I just add randomly the dark color. Make it busy. Just the stem left, and I think in some flower you need to move on with second layer, not just finish it with the first layer. So for the second layer, everything is dry. I'm not going to start and work everywhere because it makes the painting sometimes really dark and sometimes get muddy. So I clean the brush very well. Most of the time, it's better to change the water and make it really fresh. So if I want to move on for some darkness somewhere, for example, with the clean water, I just make wet here a little bit, just like that. Because if you pressure and if you make it go on back and wet a lot, you can lift up the paint, the first paint. I'm going to add a little reddish color here to make it darker. And that red color should have less water inside. And just very gently touch the surface of flower. If you go like this, the edges create in between. Because of that, I first try to make them wet. But there is still there is some way to get rid of these edges by touching the brush and help it disappear like that. I see some more pinky color we need here. Control the amount of water. First of all, try to make a little wet here, make a little wet, and here and there. Just add some more tone. Then clean the edges to disappear. Like that, and even here I feel a little bit more darker tone we need. So I think would be enough. It's okay. I have some dark color here. Even it's okay to add some green color on this part. I don't want to make it dirty. I'm afraid to make it dirty. So I add just a bit purple here. Because green is not easy to bring it for the flower. Just add a little bit purple here. And even on this one too. First, make it a little wet. Then bring the purple. You already can see that the second layer with less water is a little darker. Or even this one too, we need to have some more. So that's enough for the shadow and light. I feel happy with this. To add some stem around, and the stem is not really thick, so I'm going again with the narrow and pointy brush. Sometimes if your flat brush, it's so clear and new, so like this kind of, I don't know, it's still wet, it's still spread everywhere. I'm not saying about this kind of brush, which is a spread everywhere. It's not give me a clear line. It should be the new brush with liney on top, so you can take straight and draw the line. If not, pointy brush and a small brush, it's so helpful to draw the line in watercolor. I have some green here, so add a little water into that. But my green is a little cool. I want to make it warm, so I can add brown and make the green a little warmer. And this time I'm not going to use more water. It's okay to go like that. I can move easily the brush, but it's not runny. So use the narrow brush, the tip of brush. Make sure everything is dry so you can lay down and be comfortable with your hand. Then try to control your hand by this finger to move it easily, or hold the hand. You can have a space to move it easily on surface. Then less pressure. Take your brush not laying down, like straight, like this, and draw narrow line, like that. And the other way. It's better not go and back and repeat the line, because